House resumes.
Mr. Speaker, I move the second reading of the bill shortly entitled Highway Maintenance Levy Act 2025.
Sec-
Mr. Speaker, I rise to present the bill titled Highway Maintenance Levy Act 2025. The bill is intended to formally legislate the reinstatement of the Highway Maintenance Levy effective 1st October 2025. The previous highway levy was repealed in August of 2022 when oil prices escalated due to the commencement of the Russia-Ukraine war. This was done to bring relief to consumers who were at the time experiencing a sharp increase in fuel prices, and government found it imperative to provide relief. The price of fuel has since gotten back to normal, and bearing in mind the extensive investment that government is making in road infrastructure and maintenance, it has become necessary to restore the levy. The amount to be paid for motorcycles, private vehicles, and small commercial vehicles remains the same as before. However, there are slight increases to the rates for large commercial vehicles, as well as trucks, dumpers, and trailers, bearing in mind that their heavier impact on the road. Mr. Speaker, the draft bill proposes 5 clauses and the schedule as follows. A. Clause 1 allows for the Act to come into effect on 1st October 2025. Clause 2 is the interpretation section. Clause 3 imposes the levy on owners of vehicles of classes specified in column 1 of the schedule, and payment of this levy based on the corresponding amount specified in column 2 of the schedule. Clause 4 provides for the levy to be paid to the Comptroller of Inland Revenue at the time of payment of motor vehicle license fees and prior to payment of the motor vehicle license fee. Clause 5 proposes a consequential amendment to the Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 4650, by inserting a new section, 11A, to make the non-payment of the highway maintenance levy an offense. The schedule proposes the class of vehicles to which the levy applies and the levy to be paid per year as per the announcement in the budget address as follows. Private vehicles, $100. Motorcycles, $50. Commercial vehicles, truckers, dumpers, and trailers as follow. Less than 6,721 pounds, $150. More than 6,720 pounds, but less than 8,961 pounds, $200. More than 8,960 pounds, but less than 13,441 pounds, $250. More than 13,440 pounds, but less than 20,161 pounds, $300. More than 20,160 pounds, but less than 26,881 pounds, $350. More than 26,880 pounds, but less than 33,601 pounds, $400. More than 33,600 pounds, $500. I encourage all vehicle owners to make this very small contribution to nation building on time. Mr. Speaker, I now commend the bill to the House for its consideration.
The bill is before the House for debate. Senator Vidal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to give my contribution on the bill entitled An Act Respecting the Imposition of a Levy for the Maintenance of Highways. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to request permission to refer to my notes from time to time.
Permission granted.
Good night, Mr. Speaker and members of this honorable House. Mr. Speaker, maintenance is something that we see in every aspect of our lives. We have to maintain our health, we have to maintain our households, we have to maintain our relationships. So highway maintenance is just as important. And that not only includes road construction and maintenance, but also drainage maintenance and infrastructure maintenance. Because investing in the upkeep of our highways ensure that our country continues to move forward, literally and figuratively. Now, Mr. Speaker, there are positives that can be derived from this bill as it relates to maintaining highways, and I will highlight them. Safety, which I feel is self-explanatory. Better roads reduces accidents, vehicle damage, and injuries. Tourism appeal. Smooth roads give visitors a good impression of Dominica. You know, persons will come to Dominica and they might not remember it for certain things, but if our roads are good, then they will remember it for that. Infrastructure longevity. Regular maintenance prevents bigger, more expensive repairs later. Emergency response and accessibility. Good roads allow emergency vehicles to reach destinations faster and keep communities connected. Economic efficiency. Better roads support commerce and reduce long-term costs for businesses. Job creation, which I also feel is self-explanatory. More work in construction and maintenance creates employment opportunities. So there are advantages to this bill, and I can't and I won't deny that, Mr. Speaker. However, Mr. Speaker, while the advantages are clear, it is also important to consider other concerns. Mr. Speaker, we live in a beautiful country and our people are very interesting. And one of the things that makes our people interesting is that when we hear about a levy or a tax or a fee, cold sweat does take us sometimes malbude. Because,
Translate.
Okay.
Translate.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, malbude, bad stomach, for those I had to translate to who are listening right now. Because, Mr. Speaker, who wants an additional cost? Don't get me wrong, though, Mr. Speaker. In order for things to get done, money has to be spent. I'm not denying that. But after all, no one likes or wants to hear about an additional cost, especially on top of all the daily expenses that citizens already have to manage in Dominica. They've got food to worry about, electricity, rent, the internet bill, school fees, and Mr. Speaker, even most recently, biting midgets. Mr. Speaker, allow me to give you a little story. Mr. Speaker, I had regular lotion that I would account for. But now, with the increase of those biting midgets, I have to put money aside for the cream for them. Joel is tired, see me. Expenses upon expenses. But, Mr. Speaker, when individuals do spend more, they want to see the results of their money. They want to see transparent and continued results. They want continual transparency, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, do not get me wrong. I support the maintenance of highways. I mean, I started my speech by saying that we see maintenance in every aspect of our life. I support it. But I also know in everything that is done, of course, there are concerns and questions that can be raised, especially when money is involved, money that people work hard for. So, Mr. Speaker, with this levy, we must cautiously consider and monitor how this may be an additional financial burden on citizens who own private vehicles, especially lower income citizens, who may feel the impact significantly. Mr. Speaker, for other private and commercial vehicle owners, this is a new cost on top of existing expenses. Commercial operators may face higher costs, which could indirectly affect prices for goods and services. Mr. Speaker, small businesses with delivery services might pass the cost to consumers, so there's a chain effect. Mr. Speaker, if funds are mismanaged or if maintenance projects are not timely or visible, citizens might lose trust in the system. Citizens want to know that they are paying their fees and that their roads are being fixed and the highways maintained as they should be. And it's not just patched when a big event is coming, such as Carnival or Independence season or anything like that. They want to know that they spend their money, they contribute to the fee, and the highways are being maintained. Mr. Speaker, I have had the pleasure of speaking with some of our citizens, and they have expressed their opinion on the matter. Someone said to me, and I quote, "The average person doesn't really care anymore because we don't see the results. I don't see the use for a highway levy when the roads are not even properly kept. There are too many potholes right here in the city, far less for outside of town." Mr. Speaker, another individual told me, "This feels like just another form of tax with all the vehicles on the road. But what story that not just the other license, isn't it?" Mr. Speaker, another citizen shared something with me, and they told me that they are a lifelong supporter of the government, and they will remain a supporter. I mean, I can't tell the person who to vote for. We all have freedom of expression. But, but they are afraid of expressing their concern for fear. Fear of what? They want to speak, they want to voice their concerns, but there's fear. Perhaps it's of victimization. I don't know. They told me they're in fear. They pointed out potholes in their area, specifically in the southeast, which are causing major damage to vehicles. And with this levy, they do hope that the rural communities are given just as much attention as those on the coast or in town. Mr. Speaker, these were not my words. I did not just write this. I actually spoke with individuals. Just as the power reps and other members of the parliament speak to their constituents. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, moreover, if it is being said that there are good roads everywhere, then there should be no reason for a road to completely fall apart before action is taken. And infrastructure doesn't have to become dangerous before it receives attention, Mr. Speaker. And I will use a reference. Let's say, for instance, you have a cavity. You see that hole forming. You don't have to wait till the hole is deeper than the Pacific Ocean for you to know that this needs urgent attention, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me make myself clear. I'm hearing a lot of hocus pocus on the side. I'm not saying.
Hocus pocus is not parliamentary language. So
Withdraw, Mr. Speaker.
yeah, so it's not parliamentary language. So withdraw it. It's
Yes,
not
Mr.
parliamentary.
Speaker, I withdraw. Yes, Mr. Speaker, I withdraw. It seems as if Halloween is in my mind. I'm saying hocus pocus. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, this is not political. And I say this because the poor man drives on our roads, the rich man drives on our roads. I mean, we parliamentarians, I don't have a vehicle right now, but come on, I commute on the roads, you know? Yes. So, Mr. Speaker, what some of the citizens are saying, some of the citizens I have had the pleasure of speaking with, is that if there is going to be a fee or a levy, they want to see the results, monies being accounted for, true progress being made. They want to see that the roads are being fixed on time, all the time, and in all areas across this country. That's all they're saying. That's it. I had the pleasure of speaking with some very wonderful people, and they were just voicing and expressing themselves to me. And Mr. Speaker, I don't think that there's any issue with that. I think it's quite fair that individuals, the citizens of our country, they want to see the real value for their contribution in that levy. With all that being said, Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Yes. Yes, Honorable Pinard.
Yes, yes.
You are recognized. You may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Senator Vidal for repeatedly expressing her strong support for the levy. I trust that she told her friends why she supported this necessary. Mr. Speaker, well, Mr. Speaker, when we're looking at the road levy, I started thinking about the Labour Party government and roads. When our honourable leader, Prime Minister Kerry, took the reins of the leadership of this country, one of the earlier things he did was to establish diplomatic relationships with China. And one of the flagship projects in this very first agreement was for the reconstruction of the West Coast Road, which was then renamed the E.O. Leblanc Highway. I mean, without going into much details, we all know the condition of the West Coast roads at that time. And then we all got to benefit from the excellent highway that ensued from the Chinese. Obviously, we can mention those things and again not thank the Chinese for continuing to support us and major projects across this country over the past 20 years. Mr. Speaker, when I was coming down to Parliament this morning, I met this cousin of mine who just came down from the United States. And so I gave her a ride, obviously. And so when we reached under the Canefield Cliff, she was like, but when that road opened up, to me I can't recall the road being yeah, so I'm like, it have a few years the road has been wide like that. And she was really impressed with that road. And I am honestly a little bit confused because I'm telling her, but Tracy, the road, long term, the road even need maintenance right now. I mean, we can see some potholes speaking of here and there. If we have to date it back, Mr. Speaker, it has been about 20 years since we constructed the E.O. Leblanc Highway. 20 years is a good run, and I think we can all agree we're at the point where maintenance for that road the need for maintenance has increased, and so on. So this continue getting me thinking, Mr. Speaker. Still with the Labour Party, so I decided to try to think of all the various roads that the party has constructed over its 25 years in office. And I jotted down some of the major ones. I'm not sure if I mean, obviously I would not have picked up the little ones. So let me just point them out. We have the West Coast Road, the E.O. Leblanc Highway. We have the Canefield to Pocasset Road. And then we have the Pocasset to the Douglas Charles Airport. And that is through Bells. And that is a remarkable piece of highway. Come on, that cut down the time to get to airport probably by half, because that road remains in excellent condition. We have the Warner Road. I never attempted to go to Warner that much before that Warner Road was constructed. I think generally people would pass through the Layou Valley, or maybe go all the way around from Pocasset to go down to Warner. I mean, you can imagine, to tell a young person now that this is where you have to pass to go Warner, they would wonder what you're talking about. But that road they're going up that hill there was actually constructed by this Dominican Labour Party. No? Okay, but we can see, Mr. Speaker, that that road, that very strategic and important road, is also in need of some maintenance. Mr. Speaker, we have the Portsmouth to Penville Road going at the back there. That cut down traffic from having to go all around through Thibault and these places there to get to Penville. So the Portsmouth to Penville became much closer, Mr. Speaker. Then we have the Roseau Valley to Loda going up that road. That road is much improved under this government. And more recently, we had the East Coast Road completed. That is a remarkable piece of highway that cut down the time to get from Canefield to Castle Bruce to about 45 minutes now. That's about half the time it took before, right? That cut the distance by half. Right now, we're in the process of doing the Loubier to Granby Road, Mr. Speaker. And that road in itself that road is going to do a lot of good, because we know the existing road a little dangerous, a lot of sharp corners and tight sharp corners. So we're expecting to get some serious improvements from that new road that's under construction. And then we have been speaking about the pending road from the international airport to Portsmouth. That is come again. That road will be funded by the People's Republic of China. So, Mr. Speaker, we have invested a lot in roads in Dominica under this government. And we mentioned earlier that in Dominica, roads are particularly expensive to build and also very expensive to maintain. And as we keep on building more and more roads, obviously the cost of maintenance is increasing because we have more roads. And when you have to look at inflation, especially recently, and the larger number of roads, the cost to keep those roads in good condition increases exponentially. So, Mr. Speaker, it's expensive. Let us not put it on your way. It's expensive to maintain quality roads. Even when you put the lighting on the edges of the roads, these things, they are not lifetime warranty. After every couple of years, you're supposed to pass and replace those lights and so on. And these things also, Mr. Speaker, cost money, but they're important because they improve driver safety and everything on the road. Now, over the past years, I remember some time ago the government had instituted that levy, but then when it saw that there were rising prices and some challenges following, I think it was Maria, the levy was removed. But it has become necessary to reinstate the levy so that we can continue to maintain the roads in the condition that they need to be, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, earlier on, Honorable Roberts mentioned that we should look at the expenses as an investment. And I believe we need to stop referring to this levy as another expense. We need to look at it more in the light of an investment. But before we go into that, first of all, let me just say that this levy will only be paid by people who are owners of vehicles. This levy doesn't target the lower income people that cannot afford a vehicle. So again, the Labour Party government is ensuring that we're protecting the more vulnerable, the lower income people in our society. So you own a vehicle, when you go in and do your annual registration, you pay the levy. That is only for people, for vehicle owners. But why are we looking at that as an investment? Mr. Speaker, I have a vehicle. Last week, the bushing on my shocks go bad. I started to hear my vehicle creaks. I hit a couple roads and a couple holes on the road. So I went by Auto Trade to try to get a replacement bushing. They had none. They didn't have the bushing. The shocks were still in good condition, but they don't have the bushing and the noise creaking. Thankfully, Renix in Citroën, they're reconstructing bushings, and from what I got, the quality is even better than the original new one. So I got, yeah. So I was fortunate enough to be able to take out the old one, bring it by Renix, and they reconstructed a bushing for me. That is what I have on my pickup right now. But the cost of that, Mr. Speaker, the cost of that one bushing for a personal ride exceeds the cost of that levy. You understand? The cost of that one bushing exceeds the cost of that levy. So why are we looking at it as investment? Going back to that again. We're asking you to spend $100 upfront to prevent damage to your vehicle, ongoing damage to your vehicle throughout a whole year period. Higher maintenance with potholes and so that is avoided. Okay? So that is the primary first-hand benefit to the vehicle owners. You're going to be driving on a much better road, improved road, a lot less wear and tear, a lot less damage to your vehicle. So you pay $100 upfront, you invest, you avoid $1,000 worth of expenses over a year. You win. Don't look at it as an expense, look at it as an investment, Mr. Speaker. Let's look at the other benefits. I think the senator did a little good job in mentioning some of the benefits of having good condition roads. So everybody can repeat some of them. We have smooth driving. You have a nicer road. I mean, you come in from Portsmouth or even further, you come in from Cottage and you coming down to town and you have to be there shifting holes and hitting your car, hitting a thing. By the time you reach Roseau to get to work, you're exhausted. You have to take an hour in the canteen to recover and the day passing, your mood not nice. It is not a good thing, Mr. Speaker. But a different scenario, you're coming down on a nice smooth highway. By the time you're not easy driving, your music playing, when you reach at work, you're in a good spirit, you're in a good vibes. You get to work, you're more productive. Okay? Productivity will increase in the workplace because of our smoother roads. People get to work in a better feeling, more energy, more productivity. Our tourist experience. The senator was again good to mention that. Our tourists come to Dominican, we have to bring them to the various sites. They have to drive on our roads. We do not want to be breaking those people's backs when they're in our country. We do not want for when they get back to the boat, all they can be is exhausted from having gone across the country. We want to make sure that the entire experience, not just the actual site, the entire experience, driving through the country is a pleasurable experience. Our maintenance levy will help us be able to keep the roads in the pristine condition that will make the tourist experience better. Small businesses, tour guides, everybody is going to benefit from a happier tourist. The man will spend more money when he's feeling good. Mr. Speaker, when we're looking at that, we only say like, okay, upfront you pay $100, but we just passed an excise tax that, as Dr. Mack rightly explained, will entice people to buy newer vehicles because we're reducing the excise tax on the vehicles below 10 years from 20 to 25%. So there's a little lower cost right now because of that bill, because of that order to buy a younger vehicle. So again, that will reduce people's overall maintenance cost over the period of the year because you have a newer vehicle, less maintenance cost. You pay your levy, better roads, less maintenance. All are you looking at it? Everything we're doing here today, putting money in people's pocket. Mr. Speaker, I just want to have people digest that, have people understand that regardless of how it is, the one thing the Labour Party is never interested in doing, this Labour Party government is never interested in doing, is increasing the burden on poor people. Everything we're doing is always thinking about the impact on people, the overall impact on people, and to make sure that what we are doing is improving their well-being. We would not be passing a levy if we did not say ultimately it's in their own best interest. It's in everybody's best interest to have our highways well maintained. They cost us hundreds of millions of dollars to build, and we do not want to see them fall apart just because it's a bit expensive to maintain them. The levy will go towards maintenance. I think most every country, they pay certain levies that will help people maintain the road network. The senator had a concern with respect to transparency, and I think this is the most transparent government ever. From the time every single thing we're doing is open, we have open books, everybody can go through it, everybody can look through it. I do believe that that should not even have come out in a mouth because transparency is obvious for us, Mr. Speaker. The amount of money collected for the levy will be properly reported on the financial statements. the use in terms of where monies that are spent on maintenance and construction of highways, these are properly maintained. Even as you can look at the appropriations, you will see what we spend on various items. So transparency is not an issue. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I just want to again reiterate my support for reinstating the highway levy, ultimately towards the betterment of everybody. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Blanchard, you are recognized. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, talk about uncharted waters. I never thought I would stand in this honorable house and say to someone on the other side of the house that I am agreeing and applauding something that they would say. But that is what I'm going to do today. The honorable senator started by saying she supports the maintenance of highways and of roads. And everybody would agree to that. And I am only standing here because of one of the comments that she made, or one of her statements that says, or suggested that should persons find themselves in situations where they pay the levy and there's a pothole in the road that can cause the citizens to lose trust in the system. Mr. Speaker, I had the privilege to have the portfolio of Public Works and Ports when that levy was first introduced. I also had the privilege over the project, the rehabilitation of Charles Avenue from the bottom of the hill where the Goodwill intersection of Charles Avenue with Goodwill Road, where the DBMC building was, all the way up to the hospital. Everybody knows that's like a little highway for us around Roseau. And I'm going on memory here. I know it was just over $2 million, the cost of that project. And I also know that the collections from the highway levy was not even sufficient. It was earmarked for that project, or what we had collected thus far from the highway levy went towards the payment for that particular project, the rehabilitation of Charles Avenue, and the collections were not even sufficient in order to complete that project. That funds from other receipts from government had to move towards the final payment on that project. And I'm saying that to say that maintenance in Dominica, as we've heard and as we well know, because of the weather, can be extremely expensive. I think it's important for us to get used to the numbers and for us to understand the cost of the maintenance that we have to do as a government, so that we can understand that the $100 that we're paying, we can't expect tomorrow to see magic everywhere we drive. I remember as a Minister for Works, I got so much pressure about our roads. And until I was in that position, I went to a neighboring country that I quite like. And I'm driving, juggle on the road. But what's that now? Our roads in Dominica are better than those roads. And here it is. I was under so much pressure. Oh, the roads. And you go to another country in the region, and when I saw the roads for a country that is supposed to be more developed than us, the roads could not compare with what we had. So sometimes we need not to knock necessarily what we have and understand it is a process, but more importantly, it is a rather expensive venture when to keep in the maintenance. And all this levy is going to do is to contribute to that expenditure. But let us be aware that that levy on its own is not going to be sufficient to keep the roads around this island in tip-top shape, for want of a better word. With my short intervention, I lend my support, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Grant.
Mr. Speaker, I lend to give my full support to this bill, Highway Maintenance Levy. just so that we understand what it is that we're doing, Mr. Speaker, so I will give you some background information. Mr. Speaker, we know that there is increased temperature and increased rainfall due to climate change, Mr. Speaker. And that is why the cost and building new roads is so expensive. So outside of that, we have increased traffic due to all the investment and construction that is going on across the country. So given on any given day, Mr. Speaker, we would move about 350 tons from Roseau to the international airport. We're talking cement and steel. That's 350 tons per day. In previous years, the road will not have seen that level of traction, not even in the entire year. So, in addition to that, we have an increase in the number of vehicles that are on the road. We see it on a daily basis. It takes sometimes an hour from Maho to Roseau, Mr. Speaker, due to the number of vehicles that are now on the road. So these are three main factors. We have climate change, the airport and construction. So for some of us in the north, we know that there's a marina going on. There's traffic on the West Coast Road. We have the Tibo, and the Kalibishi School. There is also construction there, so we have a lot of material moving back and forth. So the roads are under tremendous pressure from the investments in the country and the number of vehicles and climate change. So, Mr. Speaker, the young senator, just to give her some information, I hope she could take notes if she have a pen or paper. Mr. James maybe could help her out. So within the last 2 years, roughly, right, on the West Coast Road, we had Layo, $130,000. That's a little intersection just before the border. Then we had St. Joseph by the ITSS school. That was in excess of $900,000. We had the collapse of the culvert at Makoshri. That was over $2.2 million. In Salisbury, Grand Savan, the collapse of the culvert there, that was over $4 million. Then we had Penrise, that was over $600,000. We had Bells, that was over $1 million. We had Canefield Roger, over $130,000. Mr. Speaker, we redo the Bayfront. I think everybody can say that the Bayfront is well done. The bill for that, Mr. Speaker, is in excess of $3 million. Just the Bayfront, resurfacing. Now, in addition to that, Mr. Speaker, road patching. Yes, we recognize that we have fallen short, we had some difficulties, but road patching in any given year is in excess of $10 million just to maintain the roads in terms of the asphalt and the crews. We come into the revenue part. As we speak, Mr. Speaker, we are completing the Pocasset to Emerald Pool to Pegua. That road cost us in excess of $227 million. Right? We have the Grand Bay Loubier Fischler Road, that is in excess of $117 million. That is what is ongoing as we speak. We're not doing that every year, Senator Paris. But what we are going to collect from this levy is estimated at $1.5 million. Just that, $1.5 million. No, I'm not talking about the road, but patching is in excess of $10 million. No, patching, island-wide patching is in excess of $10 million. No, I'm not talking about the new roads, Mr. Senator Paris. I'm talking about regular maintenance. Patching of the roads, not the new roads and defects liability. What we are going to raise from this levy is $1.5 million. So it's not enough to do anything that we are doing within the ministry. So the discussion about the toll, what the Prime Minister raised this morning, we have to entertain that discussion. Because it's costing the state quite a bit to maintain these roads. So the only thing that we're going to collect from this $1.5 million is $1.5 million. That's it. That's it, $1.5 million. Yes, we understand the burden it's going to put on the consumers in terms of the private users and the we understand that. But what I'm saying is that in terms of the maintenance of the roads, the 1.5 million is a drop in the bucket. What? A drop in any little pothole. Mr. Speaker, I support this measure, Mr. Speaker, and I want to assure the citizens that we understand we are users of the road as well, and we have discussed that at the ministerial level, and we will be continuing with the maintenance and the roads across the island. And Mr. Speaker, there is no doubt in the Eastern Caribbean, our roads are of a high standard, Mr. Speaker, and we will maintain that. Thank you.
I find you sounding spirited there. Yes. I like the numbers. I like the numbers. Very scientific. I recognize the Honorable Frederick. You may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to take a little different approach to the levy before us. If you look at the schedule, you realize that it is based on size. There's a differentiation of size of vehicles. So I'm going to speak about this. I think there are 5 important points we should consider, because vehicle size is important. It is important because different vehicles place very different demands on the road networks. Yeah, so it's very important, and also generally on public infrastructure. And so the larger vehicles cause much more road wear. Yeah, Mr. Speaker. So heavy trucks and buses place for greater stress on the road surface than smaller cars, and so the fee system have to reflect that. And the weight of those will cause wear and tear, and that will contribute to more maintenance and more repair, Mr. Speaker. And also, there has to be some fairness in the recovery, Mr. Speaker. So that's why we have it broken down into the weight of the vehicles. Smaller private vehicles, as you can see, it's $100. Also, motorcycles, $50. So the fee system reflects the size and the weight measures, and that ensures that the wear and tear contribution can be maintained, Mr. Speaker, and therefore it will reduce the deterioration of the road networks over time. Mr. Speaker, a third very important point I think we should look at, based on what we have before us, is it will encourage, Mr. Speaker, more efficient vehicle choices. Because you know that if you have bigger vehicles, you pay more money, so that regulates you. It's sort of a conscious movement, also important. So if you have bigger vehicles, muscle trucks, etc., it tells that also in that thing here. Mr. Speaker, also we have to support the road and safety and traffic management is important. Because if you realize that because of the movements of big trucks across the country, we are able to have to measure and this work on the result of damage, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, the different fees help to regulate traffic flow and control congestion, Mr. Speaker, and also encourage your decision in designing the fleet. Mr. Speaker, finally, I want to say to the Parliament that it is we have to find ways to continue maintaining our infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, and all of the reasons for maintenance is very, very clear. If I look at the East Coast, for instance, we have a brand new road, but we have to keep in check that if we have to maintain the vegetation and maintain the waterways so it doesn't deteriorate over time. So these are big investments, Mr. Speaker, and I'm very, very happy that we could have this levy to ensure that, although it's a very small amount that we will raise in the next few months, Mr. Speaker, it was important to do that, because while we continue to build a country, while we have the good work done by the NEP to maintain the roads and keep it clean, and it's important, while we try to move white goods and direct vehicles across the country, we also have to maintain the roads so that we can move. While we develop our international airport, the tourism product, all of that is very, very important. I think it's very, very clear to us that maintenance of the highways is important. But I think what we have to also look at within the construct of the schedule is that the weights of vehicles are also important. Like the Minister said, in the last few months, in the last few years, actually, we have seen a lot more stress on the road. And so we have to be able to maintain that. And even rightly so, Mr. Speaker, in some cases, what's happening now is even testing the roads. Because you see some parts of the roads built back in the 1950s, And with the movement, we see road sinkage, and so we can prepare and to ensure that we have a good road network. And as we prepare for the Portsmouth to the airport leg of the road, Mr. Speaker, all of that will ensure that we can keep and maintain a good road network. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this. And just to say at the end that I think that the bigger impact we have on the road network should be the bigger amount of money we should pay towards maintaining it. Thank you very much.
Honorable Charles Sanders stood up already before.
Thank
So
you,
let's
Mr.
proceed.
Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to give my full support to the highway maintenance levy, the reinstatement of the highway maintenance levy, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I believe as a country, as much as we have rights, we have responsibilities. And this is the government that has spent the most money in developing our infrastructure, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I can just speak for the Soufriere constituency alone in terms of road maintenance. How many times in a month I have to call my friend, Honorable Grant, to come and clear the roads, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, a few years ago, I would say before Maria, it wasn't so often. But right now, Mr. Speaker, almost every other week, before it rains, stones roll down. Because, you know, we're a mountainous country. We have a lot of cliffs. Before it rains right now, Mr. Speaker, just a little shower, Mr. Speaker, and there are stones in the road blocking road users from traveling on the road, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, the sheer cost of maintaining roads has significantly increased in just the Soufriere constituency alone. I can just speak to that. The number of times we have to rent heavy equipment to come and clear the roads, because when those big boulders roll on the road, Mr. Speaker, you cannot just ask two men to go and carry it and push it on the side. You have to rent a heavy equipment just to move one big stone. So they'll come there for 2 hours, just one stone on the road, Mr. Speaker. So we have to appreciate that we all want nice, smooth roads all the time. Before we see a pothole in the road, Pareb, there are too many potholes on the Soufriere Road, Pareb. Call the Minister of Public Works. And in all fairness to him, we are always on schedule. Whenever they get a chance, a team is sent to the Soufriere constituency to repair our roads, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have to appreciate that we have increased rainfall because of climate change. So even in Pokase area near the Emerald Pool, do you know many times the minister has repaired the potholes in 1 year? Just this year alone, how many times, Minister? You understand what I'm saying to you, Mr. Speaker? So this is the reality of a small island state battling with climate change issues. And I believe as citizens, for a private vehicle is $100 a year, which is about $8.33 a month contribution to raise $1.5 million. And the cost annually of road maintenance alone, not interventions due to road failures, just road patching is $10 million. I believe our people in Dominica are reasonable and understanding. When there was a need to give them a relief due to COVID, the government came and decided, yes, the cost of maintaining roads is high, but because of COVID, we had been shut down. Many people lost income. So we gave them a relief during that time. No, that is not the case. If you talk to the average taxi operator in Dominica, because of the booming cruise season we have, they're making money, Mr. Speaker. All taxi operators are smiling. I don't think they have a problem with paying $200 a year, Mr. Speaker. They're making money, Mr. Speaker. We are getting, this year we have about, we're expecting over 400 cruise passengers to disembark on our shores, Mr. Speaker. 400,000 passengers to disembark on our shores, Mr. Speaker. That is money that is being made in the economy. During the World Choral Music Festival, everybody who had a transportation wanted to make $1, could make $1, Mr. Speaker, because people were looking for transport. We even have to start discussing having something like Uber, Mr. Speaker, because people want to move around the country And they're having challenges when they're here visiting because you heard all rentals were booked. So what happens when all rentals are booked? And so this provides an opportunity now for taxi operators, people who drive buses. We have some intelligent people in Dominica that do app development. Let's do a little Dominica drive sharing app so people can make extra money, and that becomes nothing. $8.40 a month. It's neither here nor there for us to argue about. So I think understanding the pressures that the government is under because of climate change, an incident, a climatic event can happen at any time. We have no control over it. If you're not facing from the mountain, you're getting it from the sea. You have no choice, Mr. Speaker. We have to resurface Newtown just now, Mr. Speaker. That's a major cost. And so I believe as citizens, we have a responsibility for the upkeep of our country and of our roads, Mr. Speaker. And this is just a small contribution to do so. As the minister said, it's only going to raise $1.5 billion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Senator Parrish,
Mr.
recognize.
Speaker, very short, very good discussion. Well, good debate on the highway, the reintroduction of the highway maintenance levy. A few things, I heard a few things, and we wouldn't go down the road of correcting the history, certain people got the history wrong and so on. And I really appreciated the minister for pointing out those numbers, because we didn't have them earlier. It would have been nice to have those things would have added to the discussion. So we're not going to go into that and challenge that. And we understand that the collection is going to be about 1.5. Here's where I want to raise the issue. Two important cases. The increase in the amount of capital projects that we have obviously is creating a significant impact on the road. The minister explained that a while ago. The question now becomes, do we have in those projects anything built in that goes back to the access? The same roads that we are using to facilitate those projects. Is there anywhere in those projects where there is some sort of percentage that is going back to maintaining the access? Every time you have to do a project, large capital project, there is consideration for access. Maybe that's something that we should be evaluating. I don't know if that is part of the conversation, but the project should be giving back or finding a way to maintain how it got to the project. It should be paying for it. It shouldn't at any point be seen that the people of Dominica, now that we're coming to reintroduce levy, is because the truck's smashing up the road. And we should find a way to ensure that those two things are not conflated and demonstrated adequately. That's one. Another thing that we have to consider with the reintroduction of the highway maintenance levy is that it's not just road users alone affecting the quality of the road surface that we use. Another impact, significant impact that I've witnessed over and over and in other islands too, is as soon as you resurface a piece of road, some service provider come in and cut it. Some service provider come in and cut it. Recently we saw that in the city. A year or two ago, there was some resurfacing done in the city, and then a whole bunch of saws and excavators cutting the road to lift manholes and all of those things. That is a consideration of planning. Are we planning together and working together to ensure that when we charge or when we invest in the highway maintenance levy, that the perception that the road user gets is that they're not being shortchanged? Because when they see service providers going under the ground or driving to the edge of the road to put in something right after the Ministry of Public Works resurface the road, it seems unfair, and it doesn't seem that we're getting value for money, even if it's a drop in the bucket or the pothole. Another scenario, we're talking about the highway maintenance levy, we're talking about value for money, and we're talking about exchange and the perception that people are seeing themselves to pay for what they are expecting, whether they are reasonably doing it or not, what they are expecting to be a friendly easy road surface, right? Is we have to work with the police. A number of people are using the road, for storage. And that is impacting the ease of traffic, the ease of flow of traffic. It is impacting on the wearing surface of the road, because when you store all your building material on the side of the road, and the additional rainfall is changing the way the water is drained off of the road, that affects the road surface. We have to ensure that together with the Ministry of the Ministry of National Security, we are ensuring that when this is reintroduced, people do not feel that they are being shortchanged because they just finished paying the highway maintenance levy and they can't even pass on the road because man have pile of tires on the road. And the drain, when the rain falls, it going across the tires and it eating the edge of the road that they just pay for, that Public Works just resurface. We have to look at our drainage. We're talking about climate change and decrease in rainfall. Part of the big reason our roads get damaged the way they do is because they're not properly drained. We need to take better care of the edges of the road. And also in repaving those roads, that needs to be planned and taken into consideration to ensure that when those projects are finished, we get the life and the durability out of it that we're expecting. So it's not just a simple, in my view, it's not just a simple, $100 is not much, it's $8, you know. It's not just breaking it down to that. It's what the consumer feels they are getting in exchange for what needs to happen. And what I'm saying, what I'm pointing out, Mr. Speaker, is that it goes beyond just saying, well, look at the surface of the road and the $1.5 million is not enough to do all of the road, right? We're saying those are some of the things that we need to look at and communicate it to the citizens so that they understand what we're trying to achieve, right? With these few words, Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
I rise to close up on this bill, the Highway Maintenance Levy Bill. And it's good, I said it earlier, that both sides agree that it's a necessary bill that we had to bring up. Granted, we know it was during the COVID time, we were understanding as a government and we understood the situation that the country was facing, well, the world as a matter of fact, and obviously to alleviate the pressures, we had to remove this. But now that we're back on track, and both sides have agreed that it is a reintroduction of this levy, because as was explained by the Honorable Minister of Public Works, the amount of vehicles on the road now is much better than it used to be. And not only that, but the weight of the vehicles are much more, since it's a lot of construction going on and there's a lot of wear and tear on the roads. So it's really something that is necessary. And but you have to look at the fact that earlier in our debates today, I also told you exactly how that we're keeping more money in the pockets of Dominicans. So this is really, for the entire population, and not all of us driving, an average of 1.5 million is minuscule, considering the fact that just patching alone is 10 million. So I gave you examples earlier of how millions of dollars have been kept in the pockets of the citizens. So, and as earlier we mentioned, all hands on deck. So the government handles all of this. All the government is asking is just a 1.5, which is negligible considering the entire cost of maintaining all these roads here. So we have to put it into perspective. And it's not our fault, Mr. Speaker, our topography, our rainfall. That's just how it is. Earlier, the Prime Minister explained all the size of the drains that we have to build as such. So in the older roads that we don't have those drains and culverts, obviously maintenance becomes an issue. So this is why we have placed so much emphasis on the drainage in all the new roads that we're building. So we're rectifying all the issues that we had in the older roads by having proper construction and designs of the new roads that we're building. But nonetheless, maintenance of the roads, it's necessary, it has to be done. And this is not one that we can play politics out of. We all use the roads, we all drive on the roads, so we should stick to the point that yes, it's just almost like, Mr. Speaker, you have health insurance. That is to maintain your health. So this is almost similar to having a health insurance. You have a maintenance levy, so that when you have a pothole, you patch a pothole, so it doesn't become a crater, as Senator Vidal explained. So it's really something very simple, and it's really something that I think all Dominicans should support. It's a way of just being part of the whole solution. It's a way of being all hands on deck. You give a little levy, which is minuscule compared to the total amount that we spend on road maintenance. You heard patching, only patching is $10 million. And on an average, so Mr. Speaker, on average, 2017, $1.3 million, that's what we raised. 2018, 1.3 million as well. In 2019, it was 1.6 million. 2020, 1.4 million. 2021, 1.7 million. 2022, 1.6 million. So, and obviously we talked somewhere in 2023, so it was much less. But if you look at this compared to the bigger picture, this really isn't much, Mr. Speaker. Now, with all these new roads we are building, obviously the maintenance will even go up. So that's even more reason why we should have a road maintenance levy, a highway maintenance levy. And not only that, besides all of this, Mr. Speaker, compared to many other islands in the region, we still have one of the better road networks. And not only that, this morning we're telling you about the different areas that we're going to, besides the East Coast Road through the Kalinago territory, and obviously besides the Louvier to Grand, Louvier Belbishop Pichle Grande Road. We're also going to be doing from Pokase to Boadiab, and then we're also be doing from Sultan to the Glow Show. So and then we have to do from Auto Trade, well, from Pottersville all the way down to Auto Trade. So there's a lot of, stuff going on in our roads. So, Mr. Speaker, we must have some form to assist the government in terms of maintaining all these roads. So it's really as simple as that. I think all Dominicans would understand what has to be done to maintain those roads. They understand the cost involved, and most of all, they understand it's all hands on deck. The government does what it has to do. This is just a small little contribution that we're asking people. Very tiny. Apart from that, Mr. Speaker, it's interesting to know that for private vehicles, motorcycles, and small commercial vehicles, it remains the same. So it's really for those heavy commercial vehicles, that's the issue. But the private vehicles, so the normal person with a private vehicle, with a motorcycle, with a small commercial vehicle, it remains the same. So let us look at it that way and see that it's really a timely introduction of this, so that just to assist the government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
This concludes the debate. It has been moved and seconded that the bill shortly entitled Highway Maintenance Levy Act 2025 be read a second time. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. The bill will now be read a second time.
Highway Maintenance Levy Act 2025.
The bill will now stand committed to the committee of the whole House. And I have to report that the bill shortly entitled Highway Maintenance Levy Act 2025 passed through the committee stage with minor amendment. The question is that the report of the committee on the bill be adopted. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I move the second. Sorry.
The-
Where are we now? Okay. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill shortly entitled Highway Maintenance Levy Act 2025 be read a third time and passed.
Seconded, Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that a bill shortly entitled Highway Maintenance Levy Act 2025 be read a third time and passed. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it.
Highway Maintenance Levy Act 2025.
The bill has been read a third time and passed accordingly.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank all the members on both sides of the House for a very good session today. The deliberations were very informative, very encouraging, and I want to thank both sides. As one speaker said, they were cordial, so to speak. And having said this, we should have. We did that already. We did that already. Yeah. So, Mr. Speaker, I move that the House be adjourned sine die.
Seconded, Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the House be adjourned, sign the die. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. House is adjourned. I haven't said it. We have an issue there? Nice. So, House is adjourned. Honorable Anderson, we have an issue? Okay. So House is adjourned, sign the die.